Should you turn on in-body image stabilization or IBIS when you're using your gimbal? Will it make your shots even smoother? Well, Sony says nope, turn it off whenever you're using a gimbal. But in my experience, in some situations, turning on IBIS will give you better results, smoother results. Let me show you. And I'm going to show you using my Weebill 3 gimbal and my Sony A7S III. Now, what you should know before we go out and do the test is that the Sony A7S III, of course, has in-body image stabilization, or IBIS, meaning that the sensor itself is on a mini 5-axis gimbal, adding stabilization, and it has 3 settings. Off, which turns off all the stabilization, also the optical stabilization of the lens you're using, if it has optical stabilization, of course. Then there is standard, which turns on the in-body stabilization and lens stabilization, and the active setting adds extra electronic computational stabilization on top of the standard stabilization. This will also crop the image slightly. Now, in my experience, the active setting only works with Sony lenses. Maybe also with some compatible third-party lenses, but I'm not sure. Whenever I use my Tamron 17 to 28mm, the standard setting works, but the active setting doesn't seem to work. But I don't know. If you know, please let me know in the comments. But anyway, if you have a Sony camera, then chances are you have at least the standard IBIS setting. I'm also going to use my Sony 35mm f1.8. I'll shoot in 30 frames per second and no slow motion. You know, I still get comments saying that if I want super stable shots, I should shoot in slow motion. It's crazy. It's like YouTube has ruined real-time video. Slow motion seems to be the answer to everything. Want it to look more cinematic? Slow motion. Want it to look more dramatic? Slow motion. Want super steady shots? Slow motion. But what if I want sound? What if people talk in my video? Ever thought about that? No, really. YouTube has ruined real-time video. But okay, I'll stop ranting now. Let's go out and do the test. Welcome back in the Belgian wilderness. Anyway, I'm not gonna waste too much time because there's a lot of wind and I think it might rain today. So the first thing I'm going to do is just walk in a straight line with the gimbal, of course. And what you should pay attention to is that bumpy movement, that up and down movement caused by me walking on uneven terrain. That's why I came here specifically to the forest. So let me show you. Oh yeah, and you should notice a significant difference between stabilization on and off. I hope you saw the difference between stabilization on and off, but just in case, I'm also going to try it with my 85mm. Long focal length, more bumps, so I hope it will be more noticeable. I noticed when I came back home that my camera was not screwed tightly enough on the gimbal plate, and that's why it's shaking a lot more than it should. Normally it doesn't look that bad when IBIS is turned off. It's almost vibrating, right? But it doesn't really matter because now you can see how much of a difference IBIS actually makes. Okay, so yeah, it's starting to rain now, but I'm just gonna finish the video. Those kind of shots, straight forward, straight backward, a slow pan also, a slow pan, that's when turning on stabilization and also active stabilization can get you better results. But the problems start when you do some sudden movements or more random movements. For example, when you're following a subject and you're panning to the right and all of a sudden you have to pan to the left because the subject is going that way. That's when you get these jerky movements if stabilization is turned on, especially active stabilization, because it's gonna try to stabilize the sudden pan change, the change of direction. So if you're going to the right, a pan to the right, and then all of a sudden to the left, it's going to try to stabilize that change in direction. And the change of direction is not going to look smooth, it's going to look jerky. Is that the right word?
I like jerky, beef jerky more specifically. It's starting to rain really hard now. I'm just gonna do a few more shots. I'm gonna try to show you, because the problem is that it's not always the case that it does these jerks. It does it sometimes. It's unpredictable. So I guess that's why Sony says that you should turn stabilization off, because it's so unpredictable. Yeah, okay. I did a few quick shots. I'm not sure if you're gonna see anything, but I'll check in the studio and maybe I'll give some more details. I have to get out of here. Everything's getting wet. Oh my god.
Okay, so in my experience, whenever you're doing shots without panning or tilting, so simple shots, straightforward, backward, IBIS will make your shot look a lot smoother, especially on uneven terrain. But as soon as you start panning and tilting and changing direction, especially with longer lenses, so 35mm and up, turn active IBIS off. Because sometimes it'll look okay, but sometimes it won't, and then you'll get these weird jerky movements. And you know, just to be sure, I would turn IBIS off all the way, also the standard setting. Because even the standard setting, I don't know, it looks weird sometimes, especially when you're tilting up, for example. And wider lenses, like 20mm, 24mm, they have less of these issues, but still, be careful. I hope it helps. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.